A couple of weeks ago, good old dummy Dave Rubin, who really, I mean, the guy really is stupid.
What, you mean conservative YouTuber Dave Rubin?
Conservative YouTuber Dave Rubin. I think we might have sped up the process here a little bit. He came back from vacation and whoo boy, is our boy full of ideas. Now, I want to just say what I find interesting about this. I actually think there's very few people, at least I know, and granted, I don't spend a lot of time on like resistance Twitter or whatever, but I don't hear people calling Trump Hitler. And some of the people that I've heard call Trump Hitler meant it as a compliment. And you could probably find them in Dave Rubin's YouTube chat. But at any rate,
some people were just describing one of the few books Trump famously owns.
Yes, right. Like, didn't read it. Don't read anything. Yeah, but Trump.
Coffee table book.
Mein Kampf. Or no, was it Mein Kampf or a collection of Hitler's speeches?
It might have been the speeches, yeah.
Anyways, Dave Rubin, as always, I can barely give you a sort of play-by-play of like this bird brain acid trip we're about to watch, but Glenn Beck is there, and it involves Hitler and Trump, and what do you know? Glenn Beck and Dave Rubin accidentally echo an old Nazi chestnut.
You know, if you keep calling this guy a Nazi, who's probably just kind of a New York corrupt businessman, who's, you know, trying to, you know, get some power here, whatever it is. If you,
I mean, the acknowledgement that he's a New York corrupt businessman, like, wouldn't you be interested in maybe talking about that occasionally?
I was going to say, yeah, that
the president is
fascinating.
a corrupt.
The president is a corrupt businessman. That's interesting. Okay, Dave.
You know, get some power here, whatever it is. If you keep calling him a Nazi, it's not what you're doing to him that's going to be the problem. It's what you're doing to yourself, because if you keep saying this guy's Hitler, well, now you've really painted yourself into a corner, because now Hitler does some good things, right? The economy's kind of chugging along. We might get out of Afghanistan. We're not bombing Iran. You know, tax cuts.
I'm sorry, pause it. Okay, if we're going to give Hitler real estate developer credit for not bombing Iran, okay. All right, okay. Afghanistan, we're still in, and we've been killing record numbers of civilians. So we might get out of Afghanistan. Afghanistan's the longest war, I believe, in U.S. history at this point, and still hasn't happened. Kudos for talks with the Taliban, I guess, but that might be a little bit of a stretch to give Hitler credit for that one. And obviously, when I say Hitler, I'm being facetious and just following Dave's lead here. Not bombing Iran. What did real estate developer Hitler do when he got into office? Well, he tore up an incredibly successful deal that prevented that from actually being something that was seriously on the table. So that would kind of be like saying that someone went out driving totally blitzed and drunk, ran over a bunch of mailboxes, put tire marks through somebody's lawn, but at the last minute swerved from hitting a group of school children waiting for a school bus, and are still, by the way, threatening to hit those same school children on a near daily basis. So I just want to say, Dave, little bit of a stretch.
I know Dave hasn't has been on a media fast, but he might want to check out the Rubin report with Marianne Williamson, where she explained that relatively succinctly.
Yes, I would say the Rubin report with Marianne Williamson explained to Dave a lot of things that apparently he's forgotten in his media cleanse.
Out of Afghanistan, we're not bombing Iran, you know, tax cuts, we've deregulated some stuff, some things that most of Americans
I'm also sorry, again, so you must like Obama. Yeah. Obama deregulated some things, gave some folks some tax cuts, and most assuredly did not bomb Iran. In fact, the Iran deal's probably the best thing Obama did.
We've deregulated some stuff, some things that most of Americans think are pretty good. Well, you can't suddenly be like, you know, that Hitler guy,
Hitler did make the Autobahn.
No. Right, exactly. Right. No one credits Hitler for the Autobahn.
Some people do.
Some people do, and we'll get to this in a second, but I just love, because I had said, this interview broke on TMBS the other night, and we played a little bit of this. I just was like, Dave Rubin needs direction. And whatever else you say about Glenn Beck, I think Glenn Beck is clearly a more competent human being than Dave Rubin, in my view. And I just love that Glenn Beck, with like his history and his politics is the one sort of being like, yeah, right, but let's not talk about Hitler too long, buddy. And Dave Rubin, who's a couple weeks ago was being like, yeah, but if we really talk about how bad slavery was, wouldn't that like jeopardize the Holocaust being bad? But this is actually great. 3 Arrows did this video. Check out his YouTube channel.
It turns out people actually do credit Hitler for creating the Autobahn.
That is the number one point, right? There is a group of people that have credited Hitler with the Autobahn, and I guess I'll just say up front, not exactly true. And this idea that he created the Autobahn and the people who gave him credit for it was a very specific group of people.
Of Hitler's economic policy, but there were many that people supported. So we could simply dismiss this argument because it's not factual. Hitler never promised employment for all, and getting unemployment down and the economy rolling again was less due to innovative public work schemes. But I'd like to combine this with Crowder's other points regarding Nazi Germany's economy. The innovative public work schemes that Crowder describes weren't really as innovative as you might think. In fact, there's even a name for this called the Autobahn myth. Because the idea of the Autobahn started circulating long before the Nazis took over, and some stretches were even already built. Of course, those were then downgraded to country roads by the Nazis because they wanted to exploit the idea of the Autobahn for propaganda. So Hitler jumped on the bandwagon of increased mobility and wanted to build 1,000 kilometers of Autobahn every year, which should provide 600,000 Germans with jobs. In reality, though, this goal was never met, and at the height of the construction, not more than 120,000 people were given work through this program. In addition to that, there were numerous problems during the project, and strike leaguers who wanted better or safer working conditions and a fair pay were sent to concentration camps. Of course, you didn't hear about that in the Nazi propaganda. Instead, every newly built strip of the Autobahn was celebrated with a big inauguration and lots of camera teams to circulate the images in state-run media. In fact, these images were still propagandized even when the work on the Autobahn had come to a complete halt. They were successful, though, in connecting themselves to the building of the Autobahn in the mind of the public, often to this day, as demonstrated by Crowder, while at the same time sweeping under the rug that the Nazis actually vehemently opposed the idea of the car-only road, as they were called in Weimar Germany, because they saw it as an instrument of Jewish capitalism.
Not just Crowder, also me. Ooh, Jewish capitalism. That sounds good.
Nobody but a very specific ideology credits the Autobahn.
That's kind of the point. Is that?
Oops. Good luck on the blaze, Dave.
Yeah, enjoy yourself, buddy. Get that walled garden quick.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do more on Dave Rubin's terms of service in the coming days.
Jesus, too dumb at any speed. I'm honestly like that guy. Like, that's incredible. I say this all the time. I don't idolize people who have platforms, right? Some of them are brilliant. Some of them are definitely not. I think a lot of us are, just trying to put it together, do the best we can. But there's usually some capacity. I mean, this is like, I'm not going to say a single other place of employment or profession because one, it wouldn't even be true. And two, it would be insulting people that shouldn't be insulted. Like I have maybe never seen in either real life or through television or any other form of broadcast media, somebody as stupid as Dave Rubin. Like I'm totally serious. Like that is a dumb guy. I mean, he's, what he's really doing is he's debunking a lot of so-called positive racism and essentialist myths about Jews, because I could tell you, see, not all of us are smart. Some of us are extremely stupid. I mean, but honestly,
like me.
Isn't that, yeah, like me. I speak really fast, but I'm actually a total fucking idiot. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, whatever. It's
all gravy, baby.
We're not going to win the profanity wars.
No, we're not going to win the profanity wars.